Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Caitlin, and I'm Sheila's daughter. Seeing all of you here is a testament to how Sheila touched so many lives and how important she was to so many people. And thank you so much for all coming together and honoring her life. I hope that I can give you a sense of what it was like to be one of Sheila's children. We have always referred to ourselves as the Ryan Cavaletto clan, and we are a clan. We're a tribe with our own myths and our own rituals. From the outside, we may have appeared to be an idealized nuclear family, or we may have seemed like a chaotic bunch of ragamuffins, and we're both of these things. Our primary ritual was the daily family dinner. My mother would cook an elaborate, beautiful meal in an unbelievably short amount of time. We would gather around the table, candles lit and music playing. But these dinners were loud, intense affairs, often lasting many hours. My parents didn't believe in grown-up talk and child-appropriate conversations. Politics, history, and general controversy were discussed nightly, with each child eagerly giving their own analysis. At first, we would listen intently to each other, but as time passed, we would begin to argue passionately. For a small child, it was a frustrating, exciting experience. After each of us had aggressively stated our point of view, often just as the clamor was reaching a tipping point, my mother would calmly indicate she had something to say, after which the topic was always settled. She would speak in paragraph form, as if she had prepared her comments prior to the dinner. She would give each of our perspectives their due, but whatever she said would be so authoritative, so complete, and so nuanced, there could be no doubt that she had come upon the truth. My mother was the most capable person I've ever known. Everybody who knew her undoubtedly felt the same way. I remember my brother Matthew once, when voting for president, wrote her name in. And to this day, I know she would have made an amazing president, because she could do whatever she wanted to. She was awesomely intelligent, yet she was also incredibly humble and very suspicious of people who put on airs. Her method of doing amazing things was not one of being touched by magical brilliance, but instead she put her mind to achieving each task's separate components and took them step by step. In this way, nothing seemed beyond her capabilities. As a mother, it was important to Sheila that she give her children what they wanted while pushing them to steer clear of cliché, pre-packaged desires. When I was a little girl, the craze among little girls was Cabbage Patch dolls, and I desperately wanted one and asked her for one for Christmas. My mother wanted to give me what I had asked for, but the idea of giving her daughter a doll that was mass-produced and put into the hands of little children through commercials was not something she could partake in. So she stayed up all night and sewed a Cabbage Patch doll from scratch to give to me on Christmas morning. No task was too big for her. She even baked her own wedding cake, and those of my brothers Nathaniel and Daniel's wedding. When she would take us on camping trips, she would bring along multiple cakes, even homemade maple syrup marshmallows. She approached everything in her life in this manner, from her family to her career. I can remember with great pride as a child when my mom decided to go back to school and become a social worker in her mid-40s. Now as an adult, I'm even in more awe of her, not only because of the self-confidence it takes to change careers partway through life, but the humility it takes to go back to square one and to learn new skills. From those skills, she helped to build a special needs clinic from the ground up. My mother's can-do spirit did not only apply to her own sense of herself, but also to what she saw in other people. She expected so much from the people around her because she was capable of seeing the best in others and bringing it out in them. Many times I was the recipient of this motivating energy, and so much of what I've accomplished in my life is completely due to her. She not only inspired me to reach my goals, but often carried me across the finish line. For example, when I'd all but finished college, my last assignment was to complete my thesis, something that I had muddled on for months. One day she decided the time had come. She packed a computer, a printer, and me into a car, and we all drove to New Jersey, far away from any distractions, and stayed in a hotel there. She sat me down and made me write and edit for 2 days until I had a polished paper that I could be proud of. Her belief in me meant that she challenged me to do the best that I could do. Sometimes I fell short of that goal, but that never made her lose faith in me. And I hope that I can challenge myself like that every day. My mom was very brave. After she had been diagnosed with brain cancer and told she did not have long to live, she told me that she had been planning on living for another 20 years, but if that was not to be, she knew that she had lived her life to the fullest and had not wasted her time here. She was not only brave, that was not the only reason she was able to take on so much and mean so much to so many people. She also loved being alive. She loved being part of other people's lives. She wanted to experience everything she could. I can remember my mother describing the joy of standing at the top of a waterfall and looking over its edge. She wanted to be right up against life in all its beauty and its danger. On that precipice is where she felt the most alive. In her last days, it became clear that what mattered most to my mother was her clinic, her family, and the ones that she loved. She wanted to be sure that we would all go on. I had known that we all meant very much to her, but she had been such a figure of authority, a matriarch, and I did not understand until those last days how much she trusted us, not only to live up to our own potentials, but to take care of her. It may have been the bravest thing I ever saw my mother do, to hand over control to her children and family, and to be so sure that we could take care of her, and that we could handle all the things that would needed to be done. Her love was not touchy-feely. She didn't love for show. Her love was earnest, quiet, and very serious. For me, to be loved by Sheila was to be inspired and challenged. And I want to live my life the way that she lived hers. I think we all have it in us to take up our dreams and not to live in their shadows. And that's what Sheila did. Thank you, Mom, for loving me.